what's great about like those is like watching that is the texting of like, I love you, you're my soulmate, I'm obsessed with you, and then on Catfish they like knock on the door and they have to like the person has to wait in the car because they're shy. It's like, well, you just said they were your soulmate, so why are you
Or
shy
it's
all
an
of a
old
sudden?
lady or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas on this show, it's sort of similar. They're like, I can't believe I found my soulmate. Will you marry me? And she's like, yes. And then they meet each other and they're like, hi,
Hi.
hi. Winter is coming, but Game of Thrones is going back in time with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. We're going to talk about that trailer and more. So, welcome to Nerdy and Nice, everybody. I'm John. That is Lacey, and we are excited to talk about all the things going on in nerddom, the kingdom of nerddom, movies, TV, pop culture. So, we're so glad that you are joining us. Make sure you subscribe to Nerdy and Nice on your favorite podcast platform, and of course, the TRB YouTube channel if you're watching. Hello. Thanks for being with us. And last but not least, Nerdy and Nice Pod on social media. We are very excited. For Star Wars fans, we have a new episode of the Resistance broadcast from this past Thursday night. Check that out on its own feed and the video version right here on our YouTube channel. Lacey, it's not going to be necessarily a heavy news show for us.
Hmm.
And I know we're going to get to that trailer in a bit. You haven't watched Game of Thrones yet, right?
I have not watched any of Game of Thrones. Any of
Okay.
the Thrones.
I think you would like it, but
Isn't it really
um,
gory though?
sure,
I
sure.
heard there's a lot of essay in there too.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Hmm.
The very medieval, themes and what came with it.
Mm.
But there's love and there is family, found family, a lot of themes that you like.
I
So,
know a lot of the spoilers though, like because
mm,
I've been working in pop culture for so long that it's like
hmm
my job to know these things. So even though I haven't watched the show, I know a lot of like the deaths and the reveals and like who does what and
yeah,
just being on the internet. It's hard to avoid those kinds of things unless you're like not on the internet
yeah.
ever.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair. Um, give it a shot, maybe. We'll see if you dig it, but if not, that's cool too. We'll get into what we're watching later in the show. But before we do that, Lacey, anything you want to bring up before we dive into this Game of Thrones trailer?
Did you watch the performance from the K-pop Demon Hunters, real life singers on Jimmy Fallon?
I did not. I don't watch Jimmy Fallon.
I don't either, but I watched the clip that was posted on social media after the fact,
Mm.
and I had reshared it on social media as well. And oh man, are those ladies talented? Sometimes
Talented?
yeah,
Interesting.
you see them. You hear a studio produced album and you're like, wow, this is amazing. It's so awesome. I listen to Golden on repeat like nonstop. But then to hear them sing it live, like the mics are on and everything, it just shows you how talented they really are. And they had like
Were they
choreography
actually
and everything.
singing or were
Yes,
they lip syncing?
they were not lip syncing. They were
Very
singing.
cool. Respect.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of EJE, who's the lead singer who does Rumi's voice, was someone that went through kind of the K-pop band training in Korea.
Hmm
And then, her story is really kind of underdog story where she went through that process and tried to debut with a band and she was so great, but they said she was too old at like 27 or something. They're like, you're too old to be in a K-pop girl group. And so she kind of like her dream kind of fell away. She's like, she put everything into it and then didn't get chosen, which by the way, she's gorgeous. So I'm not sure why she was too old. It's like, okay. And then she, started writing songs for the people. And then she wrote songs for this movie. And from my understanding from the interviews and stuff I've read, is that she sang on the demo for it after she wrote it, being like, here's how it should sound. And they were so impressed. They were like, no, can you please be her voice? Can you just sing it? And now, to be denied from a dream that she thought was in her grasp, but then it wasn't, to then top at like top 100, top 200, the record just went platinum. Like those are the stories you live for. The like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody was betting against me and I made it happen anyway.
That's really cool.
To see
Yeah,
her have her moment, even though it was on Jimmy Fallon. Ugh. but it's still nice to see her be in a national stage like that. And I was thinking about it the other day, I was like, oh man, I wonder if they'll ever go on tour or anything like that. And I don't think they will because there's not enough songs. Like they only sang 4 songs in the movie. But my thought was after a sequel where they sing maybe 4 or 5 more songs, maybe they would do some type of show with the guys and the girls. And then they have a band twice that does some of the songs too. I would totally go to it. One of my biggest regrets this summer is not getting tickets to the screenings of K-pop Demon Hunters. They looked so fun.
Yeah, that thing has really grabbed everybody. That's pretty cool. My kids
Show
love
the
it.
drawings. You didn't show
Yeah.
them last week. You forgot. So John forgot
So
this last week.
yeah, my son Johnny loves drawing. He actually loves creating monsters and drawing monsters and stuff like that.
That's such a cool
But
thing for a little kid.
he drew the boy group,
SHAH Boys.
so SHAH Boys, and like I love that he had the wherewithal to do the depth perception and have the people in front, like he knew to put their arms in front of those guys. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
And they all
Uh,
have the little marks and two. And they have pointy fingers. Look, they have claws.
yeah, and the eyes and the hats and all that, and then he drew Ginu,
Genu.
Ginu,
With
uh,
Giwa.
with Giwa, and he's like, he slid this under the door while I was doing TRB live, and when I went upstairs, I didn't see it because it slid all the way down the stairs. So I went up the stairs, and he's like, "Did you see the drawing?" I'm like, "I didn't see it." He's like, "I think you're really gonna like this one."
Does he do it from memory or does he do it from watching the TV? Like, did he
Uh,
pause the TV and draw that or did he just do it from memory?
I think he does. He just sits at his desk and does it, but he's watched the movie so much that I
Which
think,
the whole conversation we started last week was that you said your kids are finally into it.
yeah, they're both, yeah. Like
My kids have been in it for months.
I caught Daisy like doing the dance moves to one of the songs. Like she didn't know I was watching
This
her, so it was literally dance like no one's watching. She was
was
like
it the
just
soda
dance.
pop?
She was doing the thing where she like puts her head around and like she was really getting into it. Yeah.
So
But
funny.
yeah, no, that's cool. That thing is still just popular as when it came out. It's pretty
If they
amazing.
do not win the Oscar for best original song for a movie, there are going to be riots.
For
Like
what?
that song,
What it sounds like, or what's the song? That's the one.
Golden, I
Oh, I
think.
think that's the one they like that my kids like. I like the last song, what it sounds like. I like
The
that song a
the
lot.
last song is very kind of for me is like very 80s anime. It's very
Yeah.
like battle time, dun, 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 dun. But I actually like Free, the kind of love song that they sing. It's more
Oh
R&B.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
really love that song. But yeah, Golden is just so catchy. And I could see that and Soda Pop being nominated for the Oscar. And they say Netflix is already pushing for the Oscar. I think it will win animated, no problem. But I think it'll also win song. That's the guess.
Hey, I'll root for it. My kids love it. I enjoyed it. So why not? But now it's time to head to Westeros as we dig into our only trailer. Last week we had 5 trailers, I think.
I know.
This week that we could have added more trailers, but I was like, I don't think either of us like any of this stuff. So I was like, let's just do the one that is popular, and we're doing the Game of Thrones trailer. So let's kick off trailer time.
Oh God, I love that movie.
That's right. The Game of Thrones franchise is back. We had 2 seasons of House of the Dragon, which was all about Targaryens, and now Targaryens again as we go 100 years before the main Game of Thrones series with Game of Thrones: A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is debuting January 18th on HBO. It's going to be 6 episodes. And the premise is, like I said, a century before the events of Game of Thrones, 2 unlikely heroes wander Westeros in an adaptation of George R.R. Martin's novella, The Hedge Knight. So George R.R. Martin did write the story for this, which may excite a lot of fans. I know he's involved from a producing standpoint with this series as well. But it sounds like it's very lone wolf and cub type of thing for our TRB people who listen to the Resistance broadcast, Mandalorian style. But Lacey, we both watched the trailer. Did you think this was a good trailer? I know you haven't watched Game of Thrones, but
I have not.
just in a vacuum, was this a good trailer? And what'd you think of it?
I thought it was a great trailer. It was interesting. It had really good beats and moments, and the music was great, and the scenery was wonderful. And I liked how they had varying shots, like the end shot where they go from behind the night and they kind of fly in. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a good show. It's HBO, high production value, great acting. Like, has this guy ever been anything? The guy that's in the main character?
I didn't recognize him. I'm sure he has, but yeah.
I hadn't ever seen him before, so I was like, oh, this is just some kind of up and coming guy, maybe.
His name is
Because he didn't look like anything that any person that I had seen before, but at the same time, he looked familiar.
his name is Paul Claffey.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Man, what a break. You get the main role on a Game of Thrones spinoff show. It's pretty
He
good.
was a rugby player.
He looks he's huge.
He's been acting for the last 3 years. He was in Borderline, Vikings Valhalla. So maybe they saw him in that. And we're like, he fits the aesthetic.
Or he got the chance to audition. Good for him. That's awesome. I love hearing that. That's some like
He's
up and
6'5".
Dang, that's
260 pounds.
They really were like, we need a tall person, like seriously tall.
Yeah.
He looks like he has good comedic timing too. That seems like it's important to this role.
Yeah. Game of Thrones, especially in the early seasons, did have a lot of humor. And then it got darker and darker. So
you don't say. Even the screen got darker and darker. You could barely see some of those shots at the end.
Yeah, so that was my complaint with House of the Dragon. That show was really dark. I don't know if that had to do with pandemic filming or what the case was with that. But that show had no humor, like very little humor. And it was very heavy, very dark. So then when the last thing I watched of Game of Thrones was the later seasons, which didn't have as much humor. And then I watched House of the Dragon, really no humor, minimal. And then I watched this trailer. I'm like, this is too funny. And then I was thinking like, wait, Game of Thrones did have a decent amount of humor in addition to all the other stuff early on. So maybe it's just a return to George R.R. Martin's style, because the later Game of Thrones weren't written by him. Maybe he wanted more humor in the stuff, and this being based off his novella, it makes sense. So I immediately realized that. And once I came to that realization, I was like, this is a good trailer. Because at first my critique was too much humor. And they're like, wait a minute, Game of Thrones, its best seasons had a lot of humor.
I think you need humor. We talk about that with Star Wars a lot, where you have all these serious moments. Like you need some humor to bring it back to kind of like not depressing.
Also, there's something really cool about a Game of Thrones show and a lot of HBO shows. They're just that sort of event level, like Sunday night, 9 p.m. It's like the one thing you could look forward to not work, like have to immediately think about work or school the next day.
Community
you get to
watching.
Sit down and watch this. Yeah. Like that shot of Manhattan showing every TV in the apartment building was watching that show.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time. So I'm going to watch this. I do like this trailer a lot. HBO never lets people down when it comes to, like you were saying, the scale and spectacle and budget of these shows. Big time. And
they set the stage for that. I feel like everybody was copying them.
Yeah, I agree. HBO does it better than anybody because they've been doing it forever, and they have their resume of shows is just unreal, and it's still so good.
I meant to tell you, I was going to try to watch Sopranos sometime soon.
Oh,
I've never watched it. Did I tell you that my friend lives in one of the houses from The Sopranos?
Wait, whose house?
Are
you serious?
Bobby Bacala. Bobby
Bacala. So that's Steve Sharippa, I believe, is the actor. Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in his house, and he says people come up to his house to take pictures, and there's tour buses, and he can see Tony's mom's house from his kitchen window. Like he lives in the house, and like his garage is in this. And he said he didn't know when he bought the house that it was a Sopranos house.
Do you ever see the lady who eventually sold, but she owned the Breaking Bad house and she would like hose people away from her house and
Well,
stuff.
because they would throw pizzas up on the roof.
Oh, I know, but it's like buyer beware, I guess.
They like, I guess, but yeah, he didn't know. He didn't know it was a Sopranos house. So he lives in
That's
the
pretty
house and like
cool.
he gets bus tours and stuff. He said specifically Scandinavian bus tours.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, that's it. That's our only trailer. We have a couple of cool news stories to get into. So, Lacey, take it away.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
It's so interesting with this show how some weeks we have like 6 trailers, 3 to 5 huge news stories, and then we've both watched 6 things. This is one of those weeks, but that's okay. Because we have a couple different stories here. But yeah, it's just so funny to me how like last week we had like 7 trailers to do or whatever it was.
Oh my God, yeah.
So first up, we're going back to George Clooney. We talked about him recently, and he says that Ocean's 14's budget just got approved and will start filming next year. Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, and more are likely to return, and this is coming from Variety. John, are you ready for an Ocean's 14?
So I did a podcast episode on Just Like the Movies, my other podcast, about Ocean's 11, and I came to the realization that I don't necessarily think that movie has aged well. I enjoy it; it's a lot of fun, but I see a lot of people herald it as like their favorite movie and stuff like that, and I can't get there with it. But it is a really fun movie. Now, admittedly, I haven't seen all the sequels. I think I saw Ocean's 12. I didn't see Ocean's 8, the all women version with Sandra Bullock, and I haven't seen Ocean's 13. So, but hearing this, like, I did get a little nostalgic and a little excited, and that was enough for me. So I'm curious about it, and it is making me feel like I need to watch the other sequels to get caught up. But yeah, why not? Why not do Ocean's 14? Make it good. Get Soderbergh back in the mix, and let's have some fun. So I'm down. I'm totally down with that. Especially like he's saying, you got the main players back. Like, you ever watch a TV show where they do like a reboot of a TV show and they only get like a couple of people back, and it feels
Yeah.
like it's this sort of half-cracked version?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that here. I think whoever's still alive, obviously, some of the older, Carl Reiner isn't with us anymore. But as long as they get like Matt Damon, get Brad Pitt, get all those people back, I think it could be a good time. So I think this is totally cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I remember really loving the first Ocean's 11, right? It was 11 is the first one.
Mhm.
And
Which is a remake in itself.
yes, and I loved the look of it, the feel of it, the way it was shot. I thought it was clever and it was fun to watch. Like you said, it was just a fun movie that when you left it, you were like, wow, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Mhm.
That was a good time. Was it life-changing? No. But it's still not a bad, I would say it's a good movie. Like, it's a
Yeah, it
beat
is a
to
good
me.
movie.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
fine. Then the second one, like, I don't remember anything about it except that like they're back again. They're doing it again, Um, other than that, I don't really remember it. And then the all girls one, I did watch part of it, or I watched most of it. And I think Sandra Bullock was really good in it because she's good in everything. Like, there's one scene where she does a bunch of shoplifting in a department store, which is really clever. But other than that, it felt very cheesy to me because it was like, let's fill in certain stereotypical roles. They're like, this person's the tech person, and it was just too much, like not believable. I thought Anne Hathaway was pretty good too. But I mean, I would be interested in this. Again, I hate to be that person, but like, I'll watch it when it comes out on streaming. I'm not going to go to the movie to see it necessarily, but if it's up on Netflix or something, I'd watch it. Or if it's like, oh, it's on Prime for free, I'll be like, yeah, let me check it out. I'd add it to my watch list. I wouldn't necessarily go to the movie theater.
Yeah, this is a movie though, if I was able to, it's a good date night type of movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, who knows, when, I mean, it'll probably come out in 2027. So that's adding another, like 2027 is going to be a monster year for movies. So you're adding this now to it as well. So where are they going to slot this in?
Yeah, I know.
Against all the other juggernauts. But yeah, I think it should be. It's probably going to be a good time. And like I said, if they get all the OGs back into it and the people involved with the writing and if they get Soderbergh to direct, then it'll make a decent amount of money and hopefully be a solid caper.
All right, our next story is the constant trending topic of AI. DC Comics CCO Jim Lee says DC Comics will not support AI generated storytelling or art and said, quote, "What we do and why we do it is grounded in humanity. No algorithm can replace that. True effort, inspiration, and perspiration." John, Jim Lee is like the Batman guy of the comics. So how do you feel about hearing him say this, especially because you and I are very passionate about the use of AI and where it stems from and where it's going?
Yeah, so this was New York Comic Con, I believe.
Was it? Was it today? Well,
I
when we're
believe-
recording this.
Yeah, it was New York Comic Con. I'm just looking
At
Yep.
Retailer Day for DC Comics, yeah.
Yeah. So he spoke at length about this, and he was just very passionate about the spirit of comic books and where they came from and why these stories were told and who they were told for and the whole element of fantastical imagination. And he said, as long as I'm breathing and as long as I'm ahead of DC Comics, you're never going to see AI used in our comics.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's an obvious win statement, so it's not like he's going out on some limb and risking himself. I think the prevailing opinion on this is anti-AI, especially for comic book fans. They like the authenticity of human creation. But I also like the fact that you have this major studio which is churning out these big movies as well, and DC Comics is married to DC Studios, of course, all under the banner. You love to see that because James Gunn is against the use of AI as well, so they're all lock in step here, and you can't say that about all the studios.
Yeah.
I know people get upset when I dog on Marvel sometimes, but we pointed out a couple of instances recently regarding Fantastic Four and the posters and some of the other things, and popular music artists doing it that we don't need to get into, and it's just it's almost like, here's the thing. So people will be like, well, it was just for one thing. Like someone, you had posted about Tron Eris using Grok or something like that.
Oh my gosh, on the red carpet, they were trying to be like, you can make yourself into Tron. And I'm like, what is this?
And people are like, well, that goes with the theme of Tron and stuff. And it's like, no, let's not use that as an excuse. But also, what people do across the board, this is a general thought, when they're trying to get something done that's not popular, they test people out first. And you can say that about AI with everything. Like, first it's the what's the Boston Mechanics thing, whatever that AI thing is, Boston Dynamics.
The robot guy?
They have the robot dogs and the robot people and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, people are laughing that thing falls down when it walks up a hill, but it's like in 2 years it's not going to fall down the hill, and then 2 years after that, maybe these things get militarized. And then 2 years after that...
They already are, by the way.
Yeah, who knows? Are they going to use that against people? And so they test the waters first with these innocent things to make the people crying about how it's bad sound crazy. And then they get the people who are like, it's not a big deal, to shame the people who say it is a big deal. And you have to remember that escalation is a real thing that happens all the time with everything. And if it's just starting with a poster for Fantastic Four and they're like, well, we made $600 million with the movie, we saved some budget here, let's try a poster and the title sequence of the teaser, and then we're going to try a scene, and then we're going to try a character, and then we're going to have Lily the actor who's AI or whatever. So it sounds like people are screaming in an alarmist way right now for things that you think aren't a big deal, but it's all about what the seed becomes and grows into. And I love the fact that here he is at a Comic-Con, a very popular Comic-Con, New York City, on the podium, on the stage, which seems like in the main
Javits
like
Center.
general area. It wasn't even in a room or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, as long as I am alive and as long as I am in charge of DC, we are never going to use AI for DC Comics. I hope he sticks to that, of course. I hope he's not pressured by other executives or what have you. But I think this is a really important thing for people like him to say, for people like James Cameron to have said, the influential people at the top. Like you say, he's the Batman guy, or he has a lot of people who look up to him. So it's really important for people to say these things, and you have to keep in mind that these things will escalate, and if you give people an inch, they're going to take a mile. So you have to, from the get-go, put that fire out, and that's why I love what he said. So I'm a DC fan, so I'm always going to root for them, but when they're going to do the right thing, I'm going to wave the flag. So I think this is great. I don't think this is being overdone. We talk about AI a bunch on this show. I don't think people talk about it enough because they feel like it's not a threat right now, but it is going to be very soon. And I think it's important for people in this position who have big platforms and big voices and big, it's DC Comics. I think that's absolutely huge.
Yeah, the words that stick out to me are grounded in humanity. Like
Yeah.
what we do and why we do it is grounded in humanity. And if there's one thing that doesn't have humanity, it's AI. Like that's not a human. It doesn't feel. And that's kind of what the jarring thing about ChatGPT and people using it for therapy and friendship and all this other stuff. Like it's only regurgitating the code that's being said to it to paint a picture that you want to see. Like you're not seeing an actual person speaking to you. You're just getting back what you want. And for him to say this, first of all, I feel like is a little bit of a dig at Marvel and Disney in particular, because they've been caught a couple times using it and or having vendors use it specifically for title sequences and stuff like that. So while I don't think he seems like a nice person, I don't think he's like literally calling them out, but they're in that bubble of people that he's like, look, we're not doing what they're doing. And two, this is another example of like why, if you claim AI is so wonderful and it does all these things for you and it can do this and that and fix this problem, like why are we going after art? Like why is it always art? That is the one thing that connects us together as humans, as emotion, empathy. Like why are people doing that they're like, oh, I'm going to make this movie through Midjourney and I'm going to make this photo through this and I'm going to make myself into a cartoon, when you could learn to draw? You don't get the payoff of building the skill like your son, John, or like learning what works, what doesn't work,
Right.
persistence, strength, challenge. If it's just being handed to you, you just get lazy. And it reminds me so much of like Wall-E, where like the people on the cruise ship are like really big and like don't know how to walk anymore because they've just fallen into what's convenient and not what they need. And that's kind of what I think about with AI, like videos, photos, stuff like that. It's like you're doing creative stuff because you can't do it. But instead of going out and learning how to make a movie and film or learn how to draw and animate or do this or that, you're going, hey, machine, do this for me. And then I'm going to slap my name on it. And I'm glad that Jim Lee is standing up going, look, we're standing for art. We're standing for humans. We're standing for what connects us. And nothing's going to replace that as long as I'm in charge. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and to be clear, that he's speaking on behalf of DC Comics.
Yes,
I don't
yeah.
think he's speaking on behalf of James Gunn, but I think we've heard
No.
James Gunn say similar things.
Yeah, totally. All right. Our last story is, you've been doing your rewatch, John. It's about Stranger Things 5, which is coming up soon. So all 8 episodes in the final season of Stranger Things will be over an hour, between 90 and 120 minutes each. And the budget per episode was 50 to 60 million. For perspective, season 4 was 9 episodes, 30 million per episode for 270 million total. For 270 million total dollars. And season 4 runtimes, for comparison, were about an hour 16, an hour 15, hour 3, hour 17. And this was released in May to July 2022. So you're doing your rewatch. Are you
Mhm.
excited for what's to come? Are you ready to watch all that Stranger Thing stuff? Because I mean, over an hour, that's a long episode. 2 hours.
Yeah. So the final episode of season 4 of Stranger Things was like
Mhm.
2.5 hours long.
Yeah,
So these are like movies.
they really
So
are.
I went back and looked the budget for season 1 of Stranger Things, which nobody knew what it was. It came out of nowhere, was $40 million for the season. And now
Wow.
they're at 50 to 60 per episode.
Which explains, by the way, when you look at stuff from season 1, how it looks like they went on location and shot it in a neighborhood in the middle of Indiana.
And it
Like,
was one Demogorgon as the villain.
yeah.
And now they're like, there's 100 Demogorgons serving this thing, you know?
Yeah, and season 1, it was very much like guy in a suit,
Yeah.
whereas I think they're doing more CG now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love season 1. It's like such a breeze to watch compared to how complex things get in the later seasons. But even season 2, I think they only ticked up to 8 million per episode, which is probably predetermined with the whole 2-season thing that Netflix does out of the gate. And then season 3, it took another level. I'll
Do you
get to
still
my
feel
thoughts.
sorry for Barb?
Did I still feel sorry for Barb?
Yeah.
I surprisingly, I'll talk. I mean, I guess I could talk about it now.
No,
About my
we'll wait. We'll
rewatch.
wait.
No,
We'll get to it.
yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, mostly all like positive, but this is like I don't even know what we're about to see because 60 million per episode, and it has 8 episodes. They're coming out with the first 4 Thanksgiving, then 3 Christmas, and then the finale on New Year's Eve.
Mhm.
And I am just so excited for this. I know that they, in that teaser, that sizzle reel we talked about not long ago on the podcast, they did say like the stakes are even higher and this is even grander and bigger. And when you see the sets, you're like, my God, this is like the budget. When you look at it, it's a $400 to $500 million season
I mean, it's
for a
in
budget.
Netflix invested in this thing.
That's like the budget people were shocked about with the Lord of the Rings series for Amazon. It was like a $1 billion season or 500 million, whatever it was. It's crazy, but Stranger Things is such a juggernaut in the
Mhm.
way that we were talking about like K-pop Demon Hunters before. Like everyone, Stranger Things has become a must. Like you feel like you're left out of the party if you're not dialed into what's going on
If
with
you,
Stranger
yeah,
Things.
if
It's
you're not
become
watching
that.
it, yeah.
Like Game of Thrones was, like The Sopranos was. There's always those shows that come along where people feel like I better get on the train because everybody's talking about it at the water cooler, at school, at the wherever, in the line at the deli. Like everyone talks about these shows, and Stranger Things captured everybody. It's the nostalgia of the 80s, but it's also the endearment of these characters. Great writing. The directing is phenomenal. Sean Levy heavily involved. It's just a magic period of time that worked, that wasn't forced to work. It just worked.
Mhm.
And sometimes that you and I know the nostalgia stuff isn't always a lock to pull people in. You still need to tell a good story and give us characters to fall in love with.
And it
And they've
becomes
done
too much sometimes. Like, it's just
and it does. And they've also done a great job of adding new characters every season too. But I'll get into more of my thoughts on the rewatch in the next segment. But this is just beast mode right here. This is, you look at these numbers and you're like, oh my God, this season must be just through the roof, massive. I just hope it's not too big where the characters get a little lost in the sauce. That's my only slight concern. But being that the budget was so big for season 4 and that's my favorite season, I think we're in good shape. What do you think?
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I got to do a rewatch myself because I feel like it's been long enough that I have forgotten a few things here and
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, yeah, I'm just like a little overwhelmed by like how much I'm gonna have to watch to keep up with this stuff. Especially if we're gonna talk about it in this podcast. Like, it's gonna be a lot of late night watches, and it's gonna be really hard to not get spoiled. So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what you have to say about your rewatch. So let's just get into it.
All right.
We can never leave the house, and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
All right. So you want me to go first then?
Yeah.
Right. Stranger Things to Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously I've been spending a lot of time watching baseball. I love playoff baseball. I don't think there's anything better in sports than playoff baseball, and I don't think there's anything better in playoff baseball than baseball in the Bronx. Even though the Yankees lost, Aaron
Ugh.
Judge had a mythical home run to tie the game.
I was gonna say
2
that
nights
one
ago.
game was like there was hope.
He hit, they're down by 3. It's everything a kid dreams of. He's down by 3. There's 2 runners on, and he hits a ball, which they said has never been hit before in baseball. 100-mile-an-hour pitch, high and inside, and he turned on it and hit it off the top of the foul pole. It's just the
pitcher was
emotion,
very
the
shocked.
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really had, a lot of nerves watching the Yankees playoffs, but it's always, my favorite thing to watch. Sadly, it's over, but they'll be back next year with Garrett Cole back and hopefully some new players. So Yankee baseball is a constant that I always need.
Mm-hmm.
And but playoff baseball is taking a lot of my watch time. But then also I've been doing my Stranger Things rewatch, and I'm already into season 4. I finished 2 episodes of that. And I'll say this, like rewatching Stranger Things, because I've never sat down and done a full rewatch. I may have like checked in to an episode here and there, but it's really cool to rewatch it when you don't have the nerves that you have when you watch these for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you get to put it in cruise control a little, relax, maybe dart your eyes around to catch some Easter eggs you haven't before, or realize how some characters were inspired by certain characters. Like Hopper, especially in the first 2 seasons, is clearly modeled after Indiana Jones with the fedora and how he gets himself in trouble. He's always finding his hat. He gets into fights, but he gets his ass kicked a lot. And then like in season 3 with the Russian soldier who's modeled after the Terminator, there's just a lot of that stuff that I maybe didn't dial into immediately. But I'll say this, season 1, I really enjoy its linear storytelling. It's like one monster against these kids. It's smaller, like we were talking about the budget for obvious reasons. Season 2 I thought was better than season 1. Season 3 is where I feel like it went down a little bit. I like that clearly they had a bigger budget. They had the whole mall set. They actually left the main neighborhoods. And the lab, like how many times are they going to go to the lab? So I'm glad they had the mall as their setting for a lot of that season. I think what was a misfire for season 3 for me was there were too many times where some of the characters or one of the characters were an inch away from ultimate peril, and 11 bursts through the door with a dramatic entrance and pulls her hands out and stops the monster. It happens like 3 or 4 times in the season, and it's just too much.
I know. Yeah. How many times are they going to do that?
Yeah. So season 3 went down a little bit for me, and then
is that the one where she goes to Chicago?
That's season 2.
Oh, season 2.
Yeah, and that I still don't like that side plot. Like I don't even know what
I
they're
don't like
doing
that
with
side plot, but I liked
character.
when she showed up.
Yes, when she returned was very cool. Absolutely. But season 3, I still enjoyed season 3. But it went down, and then I remember after season 3 thinking like, oh no, I don't know how much more legs this show has. And then they hit us with season 4, Eddie Munson, Vecna. I feel like that breathed new life into the show for a lot of people. And I love that season. I think it's the best season. And I just think overall, this is going to go down as one of the greatest shows ever made. It's so strong. And the fact that they like a 4th season of the show for me being the best season, that's pretty rare. And if a show does that in the 4th season, then you know it's something special, like Seinfeld and Game of Thrones, like those middle seasons, even Sopranos, like those legacy shows where it's, because more often than not, Lacey, like you and I talk about it, usually the first couple of seasons, like they have that initial magic and then they lose it when they have new writers. Like we talked about it with The Office when Michael Scott left, and shows fizzle out a lot. How I Met Your Mother went on for too long. That stuff happens. Stranger Things, they're like, we're ending it here, going out on top. I think that is brilliant. I really just enjoy this rewatch a lot, and it's not a thing where I felt like I needed to watch every single frame. So I'm not saying it was on in the background. I was watching it, but I didn't feel this urgency or this like worry or concern or stress the way when I watched it the first time. How I'm going to feel when I watch season 5, of course. So
Yeah,
I
of
highly
course.
recommend rewatches for Stranger Things. It actually went a lot quicker than I thought because I watched it usually late at night when my kids were asleep. But it's been a really great time to watch it and revisit it. Now I'm even more excited for season 5. Like I'm back in Hawkins in my mind right now.
I still love the music from that show and like the
It's so
title.
good though. I picked up on that too. I was like, wow.
Yeah, the
This
title sequences of the choose your own adventure text. It's just so good. So good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I have a completely different turn of what I've been watching this week. So I watched this a couple weeks ago and I forgot to bring it up. I think it was actually the episode where I was like, I got nothing, and then I went on that tangent. I actually did watch something and I forgot about it, but that tangent was legit. So we're gonna get back into what I did watch, which I watched a movie that I was actually looking forward to coming out, and to my surprise, well, I guess nobody's surprised, it's terrible. And that would be The Wrong Paris from Netflix, which stars Miranda Cosgrove from iCarly and Pearson Fode, who's, I don't know, in a couple things, but nothing, I guess, recognizable to me at least. But it's about a girl that wants to go to art school in Paris. So she goes on a reality TV show to get the check to go to Paris and then falls for the guy. The tagline is romance gets a Texas-sized reality check. Um, I really wanted to like this movie because it does have a couple really funny moments in it. I cannot buy Miranda Cosgrove as a quirky, sexy, older rom-com girl because I see her as iCarly. And I understand that she's trying to like break out of that because she's older now. She's like, she's an adult. But it's hard to not look at her and see like little iCarly from Nickelodeon. And to me, she just doesn't have that personality to carry a rom-com. Like it came across like she was delivering the lines like she was on Nickelodeon, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Like she was still
no.
delivering the lines in a very kind of overacting way. Whereas her co-star, Pearson Fode, was awesome. The leading guy was great. He did a wonderful job. He was a little too beefy for me. Like they went a little over the top with how beefy he was.
Beefy.
You know what I mean? Like really muscly. And it's like, there's no way that this guy that works on a farm is that muscly. Like it's too much. Like he clearly goes to a gym. You know what I mean? It's just like, and then he was like too tan, a little, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't believable as someone that like works on a farm on a regular basis that would have that defined abs. Looks good, just not for the part he was playing. It was a little overdone.
You
But
may get some pushback from our farmer constituents on the podcast.
I'm not saying farmers aren't fit. I'm saying it's a different type of fit. He looks like Wolverine fit. Wolverine doesn't work on a
steroids?
farm. Yeah, like too much.
He's on the gas. Yeah.
Maybe, or like dehydrated, I guess. I don't know. But I think the concept was funny. I thought it was interesting seeing how her Miranda Cosgrove character, Dawn, her grandma is Frances Fisher, who plays the mean mom in Titanic.
Yep.
So when she rolls up in the first scene, I'm like, is that Rose's mom from Titanic? And like, she's this like sweet old grandma. And I'm like, okay, but you were kind of a B in Titanic. Like you were a terrible person. So it's hard to separate you from that because you were so good in that. But yeah, I mean, it was very predictable, very kind of, oh, they get it together in the end movie. And there have been several rom-coms for Netflix that I've thoroughly enjoyed, like The Holiday last year or the year before with Emma Roberts. I thought was so good. I watch it every year. This one, not good. But I feel like if it wasn't Miranda Cosgrove, it might have been better.
Oof.
I feel like if they had switched her out for a different actress, it would be more believable to me.
Lacey
Because-
Chabert.
No more Chabert.
Lohan.
Maybe Lohan, but it's not believable that Lindsay Lohan's like an art student to me. Like she's too kind of glitzy now. She's done a lot of like marketing exec rom-coms or heiress rom-coms, so it's hard for me to believe she's a down-home working farm girl. Anyway. The other thing I watched was something very far from that, somewhat, which is Love is Blind is back. Caught me off guard. I was like, yes, Love is Blind is back. And I blew through a couple episodes last night, I think 3 or 4. I'm pretty much up to the point where they get to Mexico. And already this season is just like the most unlikable people they've ever had.
Ever?
Usually when you watch this series, there's at least 1 or 2 couples that you're really rooting for that genuinely seem like they're there for the right reasons, that they want to meet someone they want to be with, that, you know, they just haven't had luck or whatever. Like season 1 of Love is Blind. They really bit themselves with the first season of Love is Blind because they found Cameron and Lauren, who are like the perfect dream couple that immediately knew they loved each other and have been together ever since and just got pregnant. And they're like the dream of the experiment of like actual people that were there to find love because it was season 1. But now that you're into season 9, this is season 9 now, everywhere they go, people are signing up to just get famous because a lot of these people that go on this show then start podcasts. There's a podcast that's always top ranked every week of the 2 girls from the pod or like Life in the Pod.
Ugh.
So people see it as like, oh, well, if I go on for 1 season, couple episodes, I'll become an influencer, I'll make some money and I'll get out of here. So it loses its sparkle, which is hilarious because the theme of this year is love sparkles. And it just comes across fake. And a lot of these people are just so delusional that you're like, there's no way this is a real person. And 2, if it is a real person, like, I know why you're single because they're so over the top crazy.
Yeah.
And there was one instance where a woman was very persistent about hooking up with one guy, and I won't say who it is. And then when the reveal happened, she talked about how much she loved him. And then it cuts to the next scene where she's dumping him off camera, basically being like, I don't want to be with you. And she goes, it's not because of how you look. It's just because, you know, I just don't want to do this process. It's 100% that it's that she doesn't like how he looks. And people know that the moment they do that kind of thing, people are going to turn on them because it's rude.
That is my favorite part of that show is the first meeting because there's something so fascinating that sort of is similar to how that show Catfish was.
Yes.
Because, and which just got canceled, I guess. But
I couldn't believe it was still on, especially nowadays. I feel
couldn't
like
either.
people have gotten very good at hiding themselves online. So
yeah, and people are good at doing what the Catfish guys do now. So like they're not as impressed.
yeah,
Like, you know,
everybody's the FBI now.
Yeah, but except the FBI. But
Yeah.
what's great about like those is like watching that is the texting of like, I love you, you're my soulmate, I'm obsessed with you, and then on Catfish they like knock on the door and they have to like the person has to wait in the car because they're shy. It's like, well, you just said they were your soulmate, so why are you shy?
Or it's
all
an
of a
old
sudden?
lady or something.
Yeah. Whereas on this show, it's sort of similar. They're like, I can't believe I found my soulmate. Will you marry me? And she's like, yes. And then they meet each other and they're like, hi.
Hi. The best one will always go down in history of Jimmy and Chelsea, who said she looked like Megan Fox. That is the best reveal I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
It is the most ridiculous reveal. She gives this like weird Tyrannosaurus Rex run to him, and then he hugs her, and he, no joke, Jim Office looks at the camera and just stares at the camera like, what have I done? And it is still, I think, the best reveal they've ever had. Like producers were probably like, there it is. There's the moment of the season that everyone's going to be talking about. And it was. And then the fact that they cut to him, his interview where he was just like, yeah, so I don't think she was completely honest with how she looks. And then you're starting to think like, yeah, well, you only took her because you thought she looked like Megan Fox.
Yeah, and who the hell are you? You know?
Yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing this season is it seems people have figured out kind of the workarounds of the show where originally they're supposed to like, you know, not explain who they are. There was the one guy that one season that was asking them, could I put you on my shoulders if I went to a concert or something like that?
And that one guy like knew of the girl and knew what she looked like, remember?
Yeah, it was his ex-girlfriend or something. It's just weird, but this season they're like asking very specific questions that like to get to know what they look like. It shouldn't be allowed. Like they shouldn't be allowed to ask those questions. It's just weird.
I
Defeats the
feel like
purpose.
this show is a perfect sort of experiment or example of sort of what I was just saying, but how when people aren't face to face with people, they
Yeah.
will be way more open and be way more brave and say things that they would never say face to face. In the negative world, like Twitter and all that stuff, like people are so mean to strangers. And I know there's mean people in the world. There's plenty of mean people in the world, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of things people say to people because they're not looking a human being in the eyes and like hurting them face to face.
I
And
mean,
this
if
is
we're
the
being
same
honest right
thing.
now, we have gone up to numerous people that have said terrible things about us online, and they act like they have no idea what,
Oh, yeah.
oh, what? Oh.
Yeah.
And then you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, well, you were just calling me an idiot the other day. So,
Yeah. So and in this way, it's the romance angle of that. It's like people will say just the wildest things via text, but then like when they do that reveal, they do an awkward hug and act like they haven't spoken to each other at all. That's what's
yeah.
fascinating about this show to me.
Yeah,
So yeah, cool. That's cool.
totally. Well, that's it for me, at
That
least.
that is it for the show as well. So thanks everybody for getting nerdy with us. We thank you all so much, whether you listened or watched on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the show. But also, we're trying to grow this thing just as we did with TRB. TRB is an unstoppable force, and we're always going to keep that going. But we want Nerdy and Nice to grow as well. So if you don't mind, if you know people who love all the stuff we talk about, there's so many different things we could talk about on Nerdy and Nice. Let them know. Spread the word. Tell your coworkers, friends, classmates, family members. We have a good time here. And if you're listening, you obviously enjoy the show. So please spread the word. It's the best way for us to grow. And if you have any thoughts on things you'd like us to see us do on the show, do you like the interactive segments where we get your voice on here in the nerd word? We can do more of that. Should we have a guest on Nerdy and Nice, which we haven't done yet? That's
We have
something we
not.
have to tackle. So we want to hear your feedback as always, especially people in the base on Patreon. Thank you so much. And this show wouldn't exist without Patreon. So we appreciate everyone who supports TRB on Patreon. I've said Patreon 12 times. But go to patreon.com/TRB podcast if you'd like to sign up. We do movie watch-alongs for Nerdy and Nice on there. We do live chats. We just did a Q&A this past Thursday you could watch on the show where you can ask us anything. We have a Discord server with different channels that pertain to this show, Star Wars. So if you like what we do and you want to support a small pod of two people trying to make the dream work, please support us. Patreon.com/TRB podcast. It means a great deal to us. Lacey, where can people find you to talk to you?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran, on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran, and of course here and on TRB. Yeah.
And for me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky and X. And that is it. We hope you're having a great October. Hope your Halloween preparations are going well if you celebrate. And as always, TRB folks, we'll see you Thursday night for TRB Live and on your podcast feeds Friday. But have a great week. And as always, we'll see you next time right here on Nerdy and Nice. See you around, kids.